Hey everybody, it's Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our main sponsors, Rising Suns, the award-winning brewery in Cork. We have yet to meet up there as the forums, but I'm sure we will this time next year. Surely beat the fuck, we'll have 2 or 3 sessions done. And
hope so.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus. Evan can't join us tonight because he's got technical problems with his laptop. I'm shocked that he didn't use it since the last forums, which was way back at the start.
Maybe he has been using it for nefarious things in the
Well, if he's like me, I only use my work laptop. I never use my other laptops. Enough. So maybe he's like me.
Maybe so. Yeah, so we haven't seen each other since the awards. That actually went really well, I thought, that night. A lot of the bands were delighted with what they got, and James Loveday was in contact as well, and he was thrilled with the MVP.
Nice one. His statue is still sitting in our house. It nearly got thrown out over Christmas. So
Jesus. I'm sure I can collect it off you soon for Nomadis.
On class, when's that?
That is the 4th of February.
4th of February.
I might as well start actually by giving a rundown on what gigs are coming up. So the first gig that's coming up for me, and it'll be when this gets out, it's the same night, but Evil, your mates with a few of them, Joe, is it just the drummer, is it? Or?
Oh yeah, no, all the lads be mates of mine. Yeah, for many's a year.
Cool. So they're hitting the Irish shores with Cryptic Shift, Psychosis, Acid Age, and Mortal Backlash. That is the lineup for Friday the 20th in Dolan's in Limerick, and I think they're playing another 2 dates in Dublin and Belfast. Will you be going along to one of them dates, Joe, Belfast?
Yeah, I'll go up to Belfast probably on Sunday and hang out with the Eval guys, and I know the guys in Cryptic Shift as well, so it'd be nice to see him and have a few beers.
Who are Cryptic Shift? Are they a UK band?
Yeah, they're a death metal band from the sort of Liverpool-y type area. They're really good.
Okay.
Kind of like cosmic, sort of 7-minute long, trippy death songs, but they're doing really, really well for themselves at the minute.
Class. Okay, so the next gig after that then is Partalon. They're headlining Dolan's on Friday the 27th of January with our pals Molar Bear in support, so that'll be a great one. You going to that, Danielle?
I am. It's my birthday.
Woo!
So great way to celebrate turning. I don't know if it's congratulations or commiserations. Yeah, it's a great way to celebrate turning 30. So
excellent stuff. Oh, to be point spot that night, you can be damn sure. That's great. So then another gig coming up is Saturday the 4th in Voodoo Belfast. It's Nomadis, the album launch. That one is, I'm really looking forward to going back up to Belfast for that. And I'd say there'd be a big turnout for that. Please God, I know. So Dara then of Grey Stag, he's putting on a charity gig on the 10th of February for Breakthrough Cancer Research. It's in Fibbers, it's a tenor in, and the bands that are playing are Four Knot, Tombs, Grey Stag, and Black Shuck. That'd be a nice brilliant lineup. One. It is a great lineup. And finally, Harbinger are coming to Ireland with Worn Out. And there's Idle Discourse are supporting as well. So the Cork date is February the 18th. There's 4 dates in that tour. So another one to look out for.
And Grey Stag are doing a run as well at the end of March, aren't they?
Yeah. Are those dates up yet? No.
They are, yeah.
Is there a Cork date on that?
I don't think so. I think it's is it Dublin, Limerick and Belfast?
Okay.
I think so. I don't think there might be a Cork date.
A lot of the gigs tend to be doing those 3 cities, really, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, I could be wrong now, but I was just looking for the Limerick date anyway. So that'll be nice.
Oh yeah, sure, they are playing Limerick. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Joe, you want to give a shout out to your charity gig as well in Newry? When is that?
We're doing a hometown gig in Newry for the first time in 15 years.
Brilliant.
Just like a fundraiser for cancer research in the local hospitals. We're putting all the money towards that. It's sold out already though, so it is. So should be good old crack. We're going to be getting all the old Gamma Bomby chaps from back in the day up to do a couple of songs and stuff like that. So it'll be a good old night.
Where is it on, Joe?
It's in Nan Rice's in Newry. So it is. So it's us and the Dangerfields. And then the 2005 lineup of Gamma Bomb are going to do the whole first album as well and do all that kind of stuff. Drag the depths.
Are all your what's your memories of the first album actually? Okay. Is there a lot of rehearsals going into it?
There's been none so far, but we're doing some now this weekend, and it should be grand. You know, it's one of those things that you end up sort of remembering little things that you didn't think you'd remember. So, but it'll be grand. Just looking forward to seeing some of the guys I haven't seen literally in 10 years. So
what, really?
Nice to see them. And it's just one of those things though, like, because you know, you sort of wonder if they have they been still playing the drums or what are they doing, like, you know. So it'll either be brilliant or awful. So
yeah, they're in sheer panic now.
Yeah. Yep. What date is that on, Joe?
The 11th of February, Friday the 11th.
Oh shit, yeah, that Friday the 11th of February. Is the 11th on a Saturday? The same night as Gojira.
Oh, it is actually. Yeah,
yeah,
I know there's something going on.
It must be Friday the 10th. Then is it? I'm not sure.
It's Friday the 10th because
anyway.
Actually Zentrix are playing in Limerick that night. And,
right, okay.
And Saxon are playing Dublin that night.
That's in March, so it is. Because I'm going to Saxon in Belfast, and it's on the 4th of March.
Oh, is it? My apologies, and I thought it was February. Oh, so it's just Zentrix then are playing on that night. I knew there was some gig on, and Gojira is the next night then in Dublin on the 11th. Are you going to that, Danielle?
Yeah, I bagged tickets this week. I'm fucking delighted.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is it on the Academy or is it on in the Olympia? Or where is it on?
The National Stadium.
National Stadium? No way, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. So I might see if I can swing a ticket for your gig as well, Joe, if it's on the night before, if I can find one, like I found a Gojira ticket. Just lying on the ground, you know.
Joe's the connections there. Like if Joe can't get you in, forget about it. Like,
yeah, we'll see. I'll see what I can do.
No pressure.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice to go to a gig in Newry, actually. Something different, like. Yeah. Absolutely destroy the place.
We're supposed to be doing Hammerfest the week after, but we had to kind of pull out of it. I just don't, like, they're not really that mad organised this year. A lot of they had like a Lordy headlining, and then Lordy had to pull out, and I think they've got Unleashed in to replace them and stuff. But yeah, it was just like we had to buy flights and stuff, and it just didn't work out, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But don't really like having to cancel gigs. But whenever there's like an ocean between you and the place that you want to play in, you kind of have to get over it somehow, you know. So
yeah,
that's
straight.
Yeah, right. So we've got 3 songs submitted for us to have a look at and review, and we'll start off with Machina Core. Those among us, shout out to Shawnee from Machina Core. This is the first single off the album, which is due to be released towards the end of the year. They expect to drop another single before the album release. They're glad to be back, going by the quality of releases that have been coming out lately from the north and south. So the release is coming out on the 20th of the 1st. So it will be out actually by the time this one goes out. This episode goes out. Okay. We'll give it a listen. That's Machina Core, those amongst us. I'm sure, was Shawnee in Sinnosense, Joe? Was one of them lads?
I'm not sure. Are they from that kind of area? Are they?
Morrow, I think, was the singer and guitarist with Sinnosense, wasn't it?
Yeah, Morrow was the singer and guitar player, and there was Anto was the other guy who was in Sinnosense. I don't know if he's still there. But and I thought, I was really surprised by, that, to be honest, because I thought it had a little bit of everything really in it, There was like sort of some guitar virtuosity and really like sort of heavy kind of modern elements, and the singing was kind of Alice in Chainsy in places, So like I thought for like trying to combine all the elements, they did really well, like,
Yeah, what do you think of the production on it? I mean, the bass was really up front, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, which I thought was great. Again, like very sort of Faith No More vibe or something nearly off some parts of it. Like I suppose if Evan was here, he would be saying the drum production wasn't really like, very...
Yeah.
But I think, again, it really suited it. Like for being locally produced, I was like, wow, this sounds great.
It does, yeah. And I could only play a section of it, but even the opening of it, there was some lovely riffing there, wasn't there?
Yeah, really, like really accomplished players there, and like it's one of those things, it's so hard to tell. Like you just need to really be getting out in front of the right audiences. Like I think if they were supporting someone like Alice in Chains or, even like, I know, Ed Guy, Volbeat type of bands, it'd probably go down brilliantly,
Yeah, they would actually, yeah. Yeah, I was really impressed with it, yeah. Danielle?
Yeah, I think the part that you played at the beginning, that was quite good. The kind of breakdown was really cool. It definitely felt like kind of like it could be a commercial success kind of a song. It feels like it could appeal to the masses. But yeah, definitely the intro, like the bass took me straight away. Like I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It won't be my kind of thing to go and listen to, but I definitely think it's catchy and it definitely could be commercially successful. All right.
Yeah, I agree. Like there's a lot going on with the track as well. It's busy. There's no kind of going through the motions with that, and the singing surprised me actually. And it kind of has that Alice in Chains vibe as well. Yeah. It's a nice combination of a.
Are they a fairly new band, Richie? Are they?
They were out. They released stuff last year as well. A single.
Did they ask us to review something last year? I think.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I'd say whatever's coming through now will probably end up in the album, and I'd say they'll probably they're saying they're dropping another single or two. So they know what they're doing anyway. Certainly know what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, the next band is Cell Games, and the song is Here to Your Bones. Shout out to Tristan, who sent it in. It's a new single. The track marks the band's first release as a full band, having previously operated as a remotely recorded two-piece in lockdown. The addition of drummer Tunsi and bassist and backing vocalist Deb O'Brien to the lineup gives the single a heft and swagger that captures the energy the band has when performing live. Co-founder and guitarist Tristan Carroll provides dense, slinky riffs that underpins Maximilian Foy's Stephen King-inspired lyrics delivered in a multi-layered, hook-laden oral assault. Josh did the work on it, and we'll give it a listen and see what you think. So, Here to Your Bones. really cool swagger about that song. The more I listen to it, the more I'm starting to enjoy it. Danielle, Cell Games, Here's to Your Bones.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually thought the same. Listening to there, it's definitely a grower. I can definitely hear it on K-Rock. This ain't your grandma's radio station. That kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's kind of got not quite Motley Crue kind of a thing or something.
There is. I'm trying to think of a band as well. I can't genuinely. Maybe Joe has the solution to that one.
Yeah, kind of. It draws you in, but definitely, I could see that one again being commercially successful. But you can hear like on the last song, the production was more raw, which I enjoyed.
Yeah,
this is more polished.
Yeah,
but it also suits it. The production suits it. So yeah, look, I think this could be one that would do well in the States. But yeah, it's
certainly doesn't sound like an Irish band.
No, doesn't. That's not an insult, and it's not a compliment either.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed the backing lyrics or the backing vocals as well. And that's Debbie who's after coming in, so
cool.
It adds a different flavor to it.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound Irish. You're 100% right about that. There's kind of a bit of a 2005-y kind of. It's sort of nearly like
Velvet Revolver. That's the band I'm thinking of. Velvet Revolver, isn't it? Yeah, kind of a.
You're actually, that's it. Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Go on.
Sorry.
And your man's vocals. Sometimes it sounds kind of nearly Billy Corgan-esque in places, and then some of the backing vocals sound like he's doing that kind of partner kind of Texas kind of metal.
Yeah.
Latter-day Pantera thing. So. I don't know. It's not my kind of music, but it certainly has massive aspirations. It's the sort of thing that could either go where it has gone now or become a huge success. Yeah,
it is because considering that they were a two-piece that formed over lockdown, now that have got the addition of a drummer and a bass player, and who's also providing good backing vocals.
It can be a difficult situation though, because there's a lot of classic rock revival bands who are waiting to see if bands like The Answer or whatever were going to break through, and the same kind of thing with thrash revival bands. Waiting to see if one of the bands was going to end up becoming huge. And I think it's the same kind of thing that's happening with the new metal thing at the minute. There's a lot of bands doing that kind of revival stuff, and everyone's just waiting to see is one of these bands going to end up becoming big and then leading a big revival of that kind of music.
They're far from new metal, along with this single anyway. Or am I completely wrong?
I think they were more new metal with the other songs that they've had, I thought.
Yeah, this is more kind of, as you said, Velvet Revolver kind of rock.
Yeah.
Kind of with a nice kind of grunge feel to it as well.
Yeah, there were certainly little bits in it where you could hear, again, the Alice in Chains-y vibe, or that secondhand Aussie Sabbath type sound,
Yeah.
But for them, again, what they're doing incredibly well, and there's a huge audience.
Yeah.
But it just ain't at my house.
Yeah. Ain't at my house. Okay, so the third single is Rom Kingdom, Red Admiral. Shout out to Dave for sending it in. So just read about it there. Irish post-metal sludgers Rom Kingdom revealed album details. So there's a new video out, which is to back up their new album, which is going to be called Monarchs. And sadly, the bass player Ronan Connor passed away in 2021, so they wanted to release the last recordings and writings in respect for Ronan's memory. This new effort is something about everything: emotive, melodic, atmospheric and hypnotizing, a musical journey for deep senses. So Monarch will be released on January the 27th by Argonaut Records. And as I said, big shout out to the lads. It's been a difficult year for them to lose a band member and a friend. And so this is Red Admiral, the new single. Danielle, over to you.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Round Kingdom. I seen them, was it last year, the year before in Dolan's, and they blew me away.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal live. They really, really bring it live.
Yeah.
I love this. I was kind of like, you know, the way you were with Nomadis, looking for a release.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you were looking for a release like that. I was looking for a release like this, so I'm delighted.
Yeah,
it's
I have the album. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. The time I seen them, I was blown away. And shout out to Kirk and Alan. They went up and bought me the vinyl, and were just like, "Here, listen, they're class."
Or Kirk and Alan from Kerry.
Yeah. It was the Everything and Nothing vinyl. So yeah, look, obviously been a really tough year for them, but that's it. Also, it's probably good to know that that's a 7-minute song, so it must have been hard for you to pick out a small clip from that.
It was, actually.
Yeah, and the video was really cool as well. I don't know if you got a chance to see the video.
I did actually. Yeah, the kind of decaying. So
I'm really looking forward to the album.
And his vocal performance, as always, is incredible.
Stellar. Yeah, it is. So 10 out of 10. Really looking forward to the album.
Joe, does this rattle your cage?
There's definitely some things I can really appreciate about it. Like listening to the singing, you can really hear the emotions, and you can hear how much he means it. You know, so I could imagine live this would be brilliant. You know, and like it's really nice, obviously considering the tragedy that they've had. Like having that kind of production where the bass is so upfront and stuff. You know, it really kind of it makes the rest of the music really gel together well. Because I think in a lot of this kind of droney stuff that I've heard in the past, the drums and guitars can tend to overtake a little bit, you know, whereas this had its own kind of like, nearly a kind of like, you know, early 80s kind of alternative-y vibe about in some places, you know. But like it's again the sort of music I could imagine people freaking loving at the Siege or something like that, you know.
Like the riffs are crushing. Like, I mean, it's so sludge heavy, and like there's some lovely breaks in it again with melody and clean vocals. So like they know what they're doing. Like they're really, really fucking great at what they do. So we're going to be looking forward to that release. It's on January the 27th. So
hey, another birthday present for me.
Oh, there you go, man. Fucking hell. It's all happening on January the 27th.
Yeah.
So that's all the releases. 3 good ones there for us, and we have decided on the forums to talk about Bandcamp. This is the topic that we're going to talk about, and just to give you a background to it, I suppose it's like most people on the show would know about it. So it's an online platform where artists can create their own online music store to promote and sell their music, as well as merchandising. Artists can sell digital downloads, physical copies such as vinyls and cassette tapes, and merchandising. This music distribution and merchandising company was formed in 2007 and has grown extensively since that inception. And the company's mission statement is to create the best possible service for artists and labels to share and earn money from their music, and for fans to discover it and enjoy it. Now, here's a fun fact that apparently Bandcamp was formed after Radiohead released In Rainbows, and when In Rainbows came out, they asked the fans to pay for whatever they think that the album is worth, and apparently Bandcamp were inspired by that. So they just said, I think Ethan Diamond, was one of the Bandcamp founders, and he said in a recent interview, you should be able to set the price yourself because you know your audience. So, interesting. And if somebody wants to come along and pay more than you, that's fair enough as well. So it's an interesting concept, but 2007 has been going, lads. So it's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah,
it would be fair to say.
Absolutely. And I think as well.
Go on ahead, sorry, Danielle.
No, go on, Joe.
I was just going to say, I seem to remember when it started, it wasn't like such a massive deal. Like I knew that like it was kind of around then, but it seemed to be in the last 5 years where it became such an important tool for new bands and stuff, because you could sell merch on there and it was like a one-stop shop for everything, you know.
Yeah, what were you saying, Daniel?
I was going to say just kind of something similar. Like it's just in the last few years because everybody realized that Spotify are dickheads, and that there needed to be another way for artists to actually get paid for their music, and it's been great for that. But it kind of to be, as you said, Joe, to bring the merch into it as well is just such a plus to have everything there.
Yeah. So like, let's just talk about like kind of why it's great for artists. First of all, maybe, and like I mean, obviously they're getting treated a lot better than Spotify, and it's very helpful as well for independent artists without any financial backing or support. From
it needs to be very like, direct interface though, because I think a lot of bands who are on Bandcamp, like the people who are sending the money, like is going directly to the band, you know, whereas with a lot of cases in Spotify, what's happening is they're sending those royalties to a label who are then, you know, giving it to an artist at a digital royalty rate, you know, so but definitely is they're two different things. And like I think that Spotify is generally not very helpful towards young bands because it's so difficult for them to get onto playlists and things.
Yeah.
Whereas Bandcamp is just really, as you said, it's just a one-stop shop for young bands, you know.
Any other reason why it's great for the artists, Danielle?
I think like just like you're not going to get paid from Spotify if you're a young starting off artist. Realistically, you're not. Like I don't know, like a lot of people seem to be leveraging Spotify to just like get the music out there and then using Bandcamp to sell vinyls and sell merch, which is handy. I don't know, does it kind of lead to the question of, are you actually going to get paid for your music anymore? Is that kind of thing gone? Or are you just going to try and make money off touring and merch and things like that? Like, is that kind of the way forward? Or do you not put anything on Spotify and you put everything on Bandcamp and risk alienating a massive part of your audience? You know, it's
this t-shirt that I'm wearing there is from
Breway.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Breway? Is how you say
Breway,
it?
Yeah, and they're just pure Bandcamp. They refuse to put their stuff on Spotify, and I think Bandcamp as well for artists and musicians, it's got a reputation for you kind of to discover underground bands and undiscovered bands, you know, and I think that's true. Bandcamp tagging system as well.
I don't really understand the idea of not doing both. Like it's kind of like saying we want our music to be played in the radio but not on YouTube, you know. Like I get it that bands like we would love to be getting paid a better royalty rate from Spotify, but you know, if it all at the end of the day it is people discovering your band and listening to your band, and like that'd be the same as going to radio stations and demanding money off them for playing your songs. You have to sort of take it as exposure, you know. And that's the great thing again about Bandcamp is there's probably a lot of people who listen to bands on Spotify, go to the Bandcamp and maybe buy a t-shirt or, you know, buy a physical or whatever they like, you know.
Yeah. Who manages your Bandcamp page? Which band member or do you all?
Philly does it.
Oh, does it? Yeah. And is that
and it's
up to
something that we
date,
don't.
Joe, with everything that you have out? Or
No, because different labels have different approaches and stuff to it. Whereas I think that's the good thing about Spotify is we were able to get all our releases under one place, and like it was a specific decision we made to say, right, do you want to try and really focus on this, like on Spotify, and try and work the band that way, like, you know, and like it's paid off massively. Like we've 155,000 listeners a month now, like, so we've really
Yeah.
like sort of got a proper big boost in the last year, which is great because like we haven't had an album out in a couple of years, you know. So it just goes to show that I think if you can work the algorithm correctly, you can definitely get lots of new listeners on it. And I think that that's probably the biggest problem with Bandcamp is that they definitely can link you to other artists, but it's not quite the same kind of thing where if you look at, it's not going to take you to something that's as specifically similar. So say if you really loved Voivod and you went onto their Bandcamp, it's not going to take you to something that'll be extremely similar to that. It's always just another underground band of a similar standing, you know?
Yeah, like Spotify Radio is fantastic for finding new artists. Like, you know, you're always going to find something in that radio that you'll want to listen to. But again, I think Bandcamp could probably do more on that side of things.
But I think you can curate a wish list on Bandcamp, and you know, it's kind of there's a big community out there, and they kind of share wish lists and stuff, and they connect through the site itself. I suppose that's one benefit for the fans as well, like that they're able to not only purchase music and items from Bandcamp, they're able to connect with other fans. Like, I mean, I think the people that would be on Bandcamp wouldn't necessarily have Spotify accounts, a lot of them.
Yeah. I have to say as well, like the UI of the user interface of Bandcamp isn't exactly A1.
Yeah.
You know, it could be improved a lot. It's very much kind of got MySpace Bebo vibes off of it, doesn't it? But I think that might be a good start, improving the user experience. That's probably just my work nerd hat going on there, like, but I think that's something that Spotify has done quite well. It's easy to use. It's easy to find what I'm looking for. It's easy to find something similar.
Here's an interesting stat as well. Fans pay more than the amount requested by a whopping 50% of the time in Bandcamp.
Jesus.
It's because Bandcamp is all fueled by goodwill, where people are saying, here's a new band, I want to support that new band, whereas Spotify is the complete opposite. It's like, I want to cook dinner and listen to Sam Cooke, you know? So as much as, like, you know, they do have Nuclear Assault records on there, I don't listen to them as much, you know? So, like, definitely Spotify is not really as much geared towards new music. Like, well, I suppose for commercial stuff, like, you know, big commercial artists it is, but for bands trying to break through, it's just incredibly difficult to get on the lists like that, you know?
Yeah. Here's one. I have a table there for generosity by country. And the number one country going by the generosity of fans is Canada.
Right.
And next is Luxembourg. The third one is United States. And fourth is Ireland.
Wow.
Isn't that mad?
That's pretty good.
It is, considering the lists of countries below us is just unreal.
So, like, I suppose it depends on the person, really, given the extra bit.
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
And it
I think
depends.
part of it would have to be, you know, it's like heavy metal fans per capita. So places like Ireland and Luxembourg and even Canada, like, even though they're gigantic, you know, per population, there's probably more metalers there than there are in some other countries, you know.
Well, actually, I'll call out the bottom three, will I? And if you guess,
Go and egg them.
it's Taiwan is at the bottom, China and South Korea.
Right.
Oh, they're all communists, aren't they?
Well, South Korea is not communist, is it? But yeah, I don't know. Like, I suppose that makes sense because, like, over there, like, in China, they don't respect any form of international copyright, you know? So there's Apple stores in China that have absolutely no affiliation with Apple, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, so what?
And of course, it wasn't so long ago as well when the COVID pandemic hit, Bandcamp waived their fees like for 24-hour period every month between March and July. So
they still do that. They still Bandcamp Fridays.
Bandcamp Fridays, yeah.
It's
but
that's incredible. Like,
yeah, so like it just shows that the company kind of cares about the livelihood and well-being of the artists.
Yeah.
And I think they only charge 10 to 15% commission for downloads and 10% for merchandising or physical goods. So,
and I'd love to know, like, what, maybe you might have a stat there for us, Richie, what percentage, what way is it up, like, divided per genre? Like, is metal making up a massive percentage of the music on Bandcamp, or?
Oh, I'd say not. Probably not. I don't have the breakdown of that, but I'm guessing.
Will you be surprised though? Because, like, metal is, like, the one genre that probably makes the most off of merchandise. Like, you're not going to see somebody walking around with a Craig David t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? Like,
definitely not.
Well, you might have done 2001, Danielle, but not now.
So that's a good point. Actually, you bring up as well, like all the big artists stay away from Bandcamp.
Yeah, they do.
I think it's labels as well, because they don't want to be in a situation like a label doesn't want to have to go there and start being like, are we going to put all of, like, you know, Slayer's albums on Bandcamp, you know? And if so, you know, why would we do that when we can just try and get them to go to Spotify, or, you know, try and get them to go to wherever they want to, you know? Like, it really, I think it is just so much for breaking and new bands. And the crazy thing about it is there's people on Bandcamp who have like tens of millions of plays, you know, and are like, you know, they've made their entire career and they don't need Spotify and stuff. But I think that for rock and metal, it's just more difficult, you know. If you're doing like some urban contemporary music, you know, that young people really liked and we were going out to dance to it in clubs, you could totally see how you could do it without having to have something like Spotify or YouTube, you know.
Yeah. Just another few stats there for you. So the top countries by purchases, again, United States tops the list, United Kingdom, Germany, and Canada. So, like when I look at Germany there, it kind of reinforces Danielle's theory about metal.
Yeah. You wonder, like,
you know yourself, Joe, like when you tour over in Germany, it's not one place you'd be playing around 6 or 7 if you could. Like.
Yeah, I think as well, though, like Germans are definitely a lot more engaged with bands in terms of if it's a band that they love, they want to buy merch. And like Germans can also be quite methodical about that kind of thing, like where, you know, wanting to buy one version of everything, that sort of mentality would be big over there, which is great, you know.
Yeah, I was at a Tanker gig actually a few weeks ago in Frankfurt. Yeah, yes. And there was big queues, all right, for the merch there. But it was a home gig, so.
And was it an incredibly boozy affair? Was it?
Absolutely, yeah. The lads went to see Sodom as well while we were from Frankfurt, but it was sold out and it was a bit outside of Frankfurt, so I didn't want to risk going out there and not being able to get a ticket. But yeah, can confirm that the Germans are mad for their merch anyway.
Oh yeah. So the estimated net Bandcamp revenue for 2020 was 21 million.
Jesus.
Doesn't seem that much. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like
compared to like what with Spotify's.
Yeah, but I mean, it's enough to cover the company's operating costs, probably salaries, costs of servers and rental office space, and who knows, you know. I'd say, but it's definitely turning over more money than probably Spotify. Just Spotify seems to be losing money the whole time.
Well, I couldn't imagine that, man. Like, because Spotify is it 30? I think it's 39% of the market or something like that.
Yeah, but like they have to pay, like exclusive rights to podcasts, for example. Joe Rogan, how much is fucking blowing that? Like,
yeah,
and
300 million quid, wasn't it?
yeah, paying large record labels licensing fees as well.
Yeah,
and
but the thing is, there was a big hold out there for some bands like Led Zeppelin and stuff didn't go on to Spotify for about 4 or 5 years because they were saying, "Listen, this is our royalty rate, and we don't want to have a conversation with you about it," you know. And then eventually, Spotify just had to say, "Right, we'll give you whatever rate that you want," you know.
Yeah.
Instead of the 0.01p per.
And they were the people who didn't need it. Like, you know, it's again like it's the new bands that need that higher rate, not the Led Zeppelins of the world.
The issue is, like, if Spotify was 30 quid a month, which would be enough to pay artists properly, people wouldn't use it because they would say it's too expensive, you know?
Yeah. But you can, am I correct in saying you can listen to Spotify without paying money, or do you have to pay rates?
Yeah, but there's ads and
there's ads,
yeah. Yeah. And then you wonder, like, I know there's other platforms like Deezer and Tidal, and you've got YouTube Music now as well. Like, do local artists go on any of those? Like, YouTube, I think, is different. I haven't used YouTube Music, but I think you can just pick any video and save it on your phone. But like the likes of Deezer and Tidal, I can't
SoundCloud or SoundCloud, is it?
Yeah, SoundCloud is kind of...
Yeah, they seem to use that a fair bit, independent as well. So
yeah, I haven't heard that used in a long time now. But I don't hear any Irish bands using Tidal or using Deezer or any of those ones either.
Oh, definitely not.
No, I think Deezer is the one with the good sound quality, isn't it?
Tidal, I think Tidal is... They ran this thing when they first launched, and if you got, like, was it 2 months free if they play a track twice, and you'd have to pick which was the higher quality. And if you were able to pass like 5 of them, you were able to get it free for like 3 months or something like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I know one of them belonged to Neil Young, didn't it, for a while? And his whole thing was that he didn't like the sound quality on some of the other platforms, so he wanted to move his music on there.
Yeah. And was it Jay-Z or one of them as well was involved in Tidal?
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a few of them, and there was few big artists were like going exclusively on Tidal and all this kind of stuff, because their whole thing was that they pay the artists properly.
They do.
Which is funny that the younger artists aren't going onto that, and that we're not all pushing to go onto that. I think it is a bit more expensive, isn't it?
What they said the big issue with it though was that young people didn't care what way they were listening to the music, as in they would listen to stuff on, you know, Bandcamp or Spotify on their phones and didn't want speakers, or they'd be listening to it on a laptop, just on the laptop speakers. So they weren't really as interested in like the high fidelity thing. So I think it was more older people who wanted to have fancy speakers in their house that would try and go for them instead, you know?
Yeah. Like when you think of it, back in the 90s, all I had, and I was listening to it, was iTunes and the iPods. I mean, Jesus Christ.
LimeWire absolutely destroying the mother's desktop computer in viruses from LimeWire. Absolutely
I
wrecked.
remember the whole thing with like LimeWire would be you would spend like hours downloading one song and then find out it was awful, or it was like an awful live version, and you're just like,
or else it was an ad or something like that. You'd be fucking raging. Yeah. Oh my God. Kids nowadays won't understand pain.
It's amazing how fast iTunes dropped out of the competition. Really, I know they're still there.
Apple
but
Music is the other one. Actually, we haven't even mentioned Apple Music.
That's what I'm kind of getting to there. It's just incredible, because remember, everybody wanted an iPod, did the small ones for running, and
it's still very, very popular. You know, I think it has like 20% of the share, and like Spotify has like 30% or something like that. But I don't know. I suppose some people they were using it back then. So when it changed from iTunes to Apple Music, they were like, okay, I'm just going to keep running with this, you know?
And are Gamma Bomb on that?
Yes, I think we are.
Right, okay. Again, that's just down to, is it the record label putting it up there, or ye?
Yeah, pretty much. Like some labels have different relationships with with different servers and stuff. Everyone seems to just be in the agreement that YouTube and Spotify are the ways to go, you know. And that is the kind of sucky thing about it, because like the paradigm in it is that people or bands can be super happy that they got 90,000 views of their video on YouTube, you know, and then be kind of pissed off that they got 90,000 plays on Spotify and didn't get paid for it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably the thing is, the best mindset to have is that it's a promotional tool. And, you know, if you're someone like Aerosmith where you're getting millions of plays, you should just be happy that, you know, you're a millionaire and people like your band and not worry about it, you know?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. But I mean, getting back to Bandcamp, like there's no arguing, like literally an artist could put up his music tomorrow and start getting paid straight away, you know?
Yep.
And that's an incredible thing.
Go to whenever there's a new band that I specifically want to support, instead of going trying to find their merch store, I would just go on to Bandcamp and buy whatever from there, you know.
Yeah.
And like Spotify does have that. There is like a merch widget on the page, but it's a wee bit, as you said, Danielle, not really that user friendly, like, or it's in its infancy anyway, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely a new feature because it came up for me like your top band's merch and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's a cool feature. So that might be something maybe I don't know if younger bands can utilize that yet.
Yep.
And I can't imagine it'll link you to a Bandcamp. I'd imagine you'd have to have like a big cartel or something like that for it to link to. It's probably a very specific thing. But as well, I suppose Spotify also has the upcoming shows as well for bands.
Yep.
Not sure, does Bandcamp have that?
I think it's probably in a MySpacey type way. There's a widget you can put on the desk.
There is a link, you can put down what gigs you're playing and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So Bandcamp, basically, if you're Joe Public and you're not paying for anything, if you're using YouTube or Spotify, you have to listen to ads, whereas you don't have to listen to ads in Bandcamp ever, really, do you?
No.
But there are some artists who would say the album is like £5 to download and will play you 30-second snippets. Like, so some people do it that way, don't they?
Yeah. Or they might let you listen to one song for free and you have to buy the rest of the digital album or something like that.
Yeah. Even just looking at Worn Out's page there, shout out to Evan again. On the right hand side, they have all their dates, what they're playing, their discography, their contact, streaming and download help. There's
Evan
another
at
thing.
69.com.
Yeah, you can. What I like about Bandcamp as well as Bandcamp, is bands that can offer discount codes and download codes.
It's such a strange place as well in that regard, Bandcamp, because a lot of the like super old school, true, super against streaming bands have profiles on there where they sell their cassettes and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
So they don't want to be on any other platform, but they want to have their streaming on there. So, like, I think that's probably the best situation you can be in, where it's just loads of new artists and people, like young people who want to spend money on a band or coming to it. Where Spotify, the one thing people are going to say is it's too expensive, or such and such album isn't on there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really annoying on Spotify when you can't find one particular album, where a band will have certain ones and won't have one of those albums. Well, I suppose with Bandcamp, you generally put up everything because the band is generally in control of the Bandcamp.
But it's great for, what I like about Bandcamp as well is it's great for researching a band, be it a band that are coming on the show or just checking out their discography that's there. And a lot of the time you can actually go into the individual songs and see the lyrics as well, whereas Spotify can't do that if you're searching a band.
And I think in some ways, like what you were saying, Danielle, it is like a kind of successor to really like MySpace, but like also like a press release, so that like people who want to review the band, like you, Richie, or even casual fan, you're getting to read the press release blurb, see the tour dates, listen to the song, and look at a picture all on one page, you know, and
the lyrics.
Yeah.
Spotify have the lyrics feature now though as well.
I think
it's like a karaoke thing.
Yeah, that's it. You wouldn't be arsed, like.
you mean, Richie, you're not going to be sitting there listening to the new, I don't know, Nomadus song, practicing singing with the live cues?
No.
up in the studio?
No. It's
I'm
tempting,
sure you do.
all right. It's tempting. I haven't even actually, have I actually done karaoke with Spotify? No, I don't think so. It's coming up in the cars or driving along, right? And it's fucking annoying me. So I just turn it off. Like, but overall, it's a brilliant thing to have. Bandcamp for bands, artists. We're in agreement with that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And what about the future though for it? Like, where can it go? Like,
improve its user interface.
okay,
Where it can
so that's
go
one thing,
anyway.
yeah.
Definitely. I don't have the app. I'm not sure what the app's like. Do you have the app, guys?
No. Oh, I do, but I don't use it as such. I just check it to see what stuff I bought. You know, it just keeps a record of your purchases and stuff.
Okay.
So,
I think as you were saying, man, like the fact that people on average want to pay 50% above asking prices for songs and stuff, like it just goes to show it's all about goodwill. And it's like goodwill towards young artists. I don't really know if they're ever going to be able to break through into getting, I don't know, Van Morrison fans to listen to his albums on there, but I don't really think they should be worrying about that.
yeah.
Like, they're doing a great job with young people, and you know that's what it's for, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just wondering that if a young band do break through and stay using Bandcamp. I mean, I suppose Brewer would be the biggest examples of that in the post metal scene. They're quite happy to stay in Bandcamp and get their.
Certainly, it worked well for other genres of music. You know, especially like club music or stuff where people can hear it in a different, in a different arena. Whereas metal is kind of really so reliant on streaming as the only way people are going to hear stuff that I think it's always going to just have to do as much as it can to try and get out there and be heard, you know?
Yeah. So you think, like, for metal, Joe, it's more or less Spotify and YouTube?
Yeah, unfortunately so. Like, I think that, Bandcamp doesn't, in heavy metal anyway, I don't think it has the capacity to be able to start getting other bands' followers to listen to you and stuff, you know? I think it's a brilliant tool for young bands, but I don't think because it doesn't have any connection with legacy discographies. You can't listen to the Exodus discography and then listen to the Evil discography on there, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how generally, people get onto playlists and all that sort of stuff works on there. And I suppose that's the other big side of it, really, isn't it? That, like, Bandcamp is a very individual experience. You tend to be going on there to listen to a band and support a specific band, whereas you're not really mooching through playlists and, discovering stuff. Well, for me anyway,
Yeah. So like Bandcamp is a company founded by people who respect music, and Spotify is not.
Yep,
that's probably fair enough, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We might look at another one or two further down the months, maybe SoundCloud, or maybe go into Spotify and check. Is there an interest in it? Would people be interested in hearing our take on Spotify? And we'll have Evan back as well for that.
Yeah, I was going to say Evan will definitely have some opinions on Spotify.
I think we all will.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, lads. Thanks again for joining me on this show, and crucially, support your local metal scene.